What's up everyone, welcome back to another Draconic Sports video. In today's video, we are going to be doing our first mock draft, maybe our last mock draft before the actual NFL draft in April. And today we are going to be basically using this website, and me and Aqua Dragon 360 are going to be switching off and on, picking the picks. And it's going to be Aqua with the first pick, and from there I'm going to have the second pick, and so on and so forth. And we're going to keep on swapping until we end with the Eagles selecting in the 32nd pick. And yeah, basically we're just gonna have fun with this, and we're gonna see, kind of what we think it's gonna play out as certain teams, navigate the drafting process and what they need or what they want or a player that they prefer. And also maybe some trades. Maybe we could discuss some trades that could possibly happen, like the Lions trying to get Trey Hendrickson. Isn't that right, Aqua Dragon?
That would be cool. It'd be kind of hard to figure out what they would want exactly with the situation still ongoing, but definitely a possibility.
And all that. We're going to be discussing all of the details for each team, and yeah, we're going to just kind of see where a draft could possibly go this year, and it's going to be really fun, so enjoy.
Tennessee Titans on the clock. As we can see here at their needs, they're missing a big hole at quarterback, which I wonder what we're going to be drafting here. They could use some help at wide receiver, they could use some help at edge, and they could use some help at linebacker. Now, looking at the picks we have right now for Tennessee Titans, wide receiver could be solved by potentially by Travis Hunter. Edge could be solved by Jalen Carter. These are both very plausible picks. And honestly, I was thinking this pick was going to be a Jalen Carter for the longest time. But with the Titans not bringing in a veteran quarterback and beefing up their O-line the best they could, I really going to have to be a quarterback here because they really don't have any other options. And being that they're picking a quarterback first overall, why not get the best quarterback you can get? And, a better value, maybe not the best pick ever, but hey, you need a quarterback, you need a quarterback. So Cam Ward to the Tennessee Titans with the first overall pick of this draft.
Anyways, next up we have the Browns, who I guess have a quarterback in Deshaun Watson, but Deshaun Watson might not be the best, plan going forward. Actually, no, that's probably really obvious at this point. And they also did retain Myles Garrett. So there goes another trade piece, and there goes a potential selection of quarterback, because really at the end of the day, there's not really much you can do with paying Deshaun all that money, but then also not starting him. So the Browns are going to figure something out, but I think for the best bang for their buck at the second overall pick out of all of these players has to either be Travis or Abdul. And I just think the Browns, with the fact that they signed Myles Garrett to one of the biggest edge rusher extensions or just contracts of all time, I think it's kind of obvious they have to go Travis Hunter here, because at the end of the day, yeah, they could go Shedeur Sanders, but I just don't see it. I know they really do like Shedeur, but I don't see it, and I think they're going to go his fellow teammate out of Colorado in Travis Hunter for the second overall pick.
All right, on the clock with the Giants, and speaking of being desperate for a quarterback, yeah, another quarterback needy team. Currently on payroll, they have literally just Tommy DeVito, which, well, I like the Tommy DeVito memes, and I like these local town hero and all, but I don't think that's a long-term quarterback answer, to be honest. They could definitely use another tackle. They have they have a really good tackle on one of their sides, but there are some really good tackle options, so honestly, the value is there, this pick. Honestly, I don't know why it says D-line, because their D-line probably is one of the few good things of the Giants, to be honest. Like Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Thibodeau's developing. We'll see how that goes. But honestly, it's really hard to say that. I could definitely see them taking Travis Hunter if Browns took Shedeur. But being that that's not an option, and I don't think they would take a corner at the third pick, yeah, we're gonna have to go to Shedeur here. Plus, it's a big market team for the big market star of Shedeur Sanders, Deion Sanders' son. So it does make sense in a lot of ways, but we'll see how this goes for the long term. I think this is definitely a reach in terms of value, but yeah, I can see the Giants doing it anyways, being that their regime with their head coach and GM probably have one more season if they don't do anything good.
Anyways, next up we have the New England Patriots at the fourth overall pick. And Patriots, they don't need a quarterback. They do need a wide receiver. They don't really need much on the defense, as they kind of did sign a lot of, veterans this offseason with all the money they had. And so, really, I think it is down to Abdul Carter or McMillan when it comes to, who they're going to get. I don't think anybody else really is, that's like a top prospect here,
No.
really is a Patriot need. And so I think they just got to go for the best player on the board in Abdul Carter, to be honest. Like, I think McMillan could get selected. I don't know. I think the Patriots just kind of have to go for the best player on the board in Abdul Carter. But like they really could go McMillan. I would not be angry at all, to be honest, for them to draft a wide receiver with a top pick because we know how the Patriots are with drafting wide receivers. They can't do it for the life of them. So I'm gonna say Patriots just kind of take the best player off the board and pray and hope that someone else they draft down the line develops as a wide receiver, or if they somehow get, one of these other guys that's kind of available, maybe like Tyler Lockett, maybe they get Stephon Diggs, somebody like that. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Abdul Carter is probably going to get taken off the board by the Patriots.
This might be the most overdone thing ever in terms of drafting for the Jags, but also when your front office specifically says they're leaving holds on the roster for rookies, it really doesn't make it very subtle. And to be honest, it's kind of hard for this pick to be done by another team above them. Of course, the team could trade up, but I don't think it would happen. But yeah, as you can see, they're missing wide receivers. So McMillan is definitely an option here. That's very plausible. A tight end, I mean, I think it would feel a little early for Warren. But it's not unreasonable of a pick, necessarily. Obviously, like I said, they're missing D-line, and that is definitely very true. This is definitely too early for a safety, probably. But obviously, with that being stated, the best on the D-line, with the Abdul Carter gone, it's Mason Graham from Michigan. It makes sense. They don't really have any D tackles right now, and he was really good at Michigan, so... Yeah, I feel like this is maybe overdone, but this got to be the pick.
Also, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, as this is a very interesting video, and we're hoping you guys like it so far. And if you want more content like this, leave in a comment down below telling us what types of videos you guys want to see us make in the future when it comes to NFL, or maybe even some NBA content, or maybe even some NHL or MLB content, Let us know what you guys want down below in the comments, and yeah, just enjoy the rest of the video. I would not be surprised if the Raiders did, for some reason, go the Falcons route and draft a quarterback when they clearly could have drafted a skill position or something else as a backup and insurance plan for Geno. So I could see them getting Milrow, sorry. But I don't think that they're going to be that dumb. I think Pete Carroll and Tom Brady and Mark Davis, all three of them running this organization, I think are very smart enough to realize that that's not a feasible option. And they also need a running back, because they have Raheem Mostert and Alexander Madison on their roster.
Yeah, does that really count as a running back though?
Yeah, they both, to be honest, both of them together might not even be better than Ashton Genty. So I don't know. Do they go the borderline Heisman or do they go McMillan?
I'll be honest. I think Genty was robbed of Heisman, if I'm being honest with my opinions. But also, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's is Genty gonna be borderline offensive rookie of the year, or what? Is he not?
I mean, that's probably where I'd draft Genty personally. But also, this is your pick. If you can go whichever way you're feeling it.
I don't know. Do I want to give the Jets the chance to get McMillan? I mean, I don't know. The Jets have a very interesting team, too. I think for the Raiders roster construction, just because off the top of my head, I actually don't... Wait, who do they have as wide receivers?
They have Myers.
They have Jacoby.
And then they also have Bowers, which isn't technically a wide receiver, but is still really good.
Yeah, he's their wide receiver one, if we're being honest. So,
yeah.
I'd probably go Genty just because, yeah, the Raiders really can't... They can't go an entire season with Mostert and Madison in the backfield. I feel like that's just going to be so miserable. And I think Myers and Renfrow can hold up the pass-catching game for another season or two, and hold that fort down for now for the Raiders. And I think the Raiders will be just fine, with what they got. And hopefully they do get Ashton Genty. Hopefully no one steals him from them, because I think that'd be a pretty good fit.
Which the Jets on the clock, they technically need a QB, but all of the QBs, honestly, at this point, are kind of just a complete and utter reach, to be honest. I remember hearing like a report that the Jets were considering Dart at their pick, but no, please do not do that. McMillan's on the board, which it's hard to say no to, but also it's also hard to say no with having like Campbell on the board, and they did just release tackle, which signed with the Patriots. So it does make it kind of hard. And then like obviously some D line depth would be helpful, but also I mean it's like hard to say. Honestly, it doesn't say it, but they kind of also do need a tight end. Their tight end room's not great, to be honest as well. But I think letting McMillan fall too much lower would be kind of a crime. I mean, like I feel like if you let him fall, he's going straight to the Panthers or the Saints. Like I don't think it passes either of those two teams at that point. The
I
only reservation I have on not going with O line right here is that they did just hire Aaron Glenn, and you know what the Lions did? They built the trenches. So you know what? I think I gotta do it. Give me Will Campbell, LSU.
Next up, we have the Panthers. I'm probably just gonna get this one over and done with. I think they're going with McMillan. They really do probably just have to help out Bryce Young. I mean maybe they could go for an edge guy now that they got rid of Brian Burns, Mike Green, Pierce. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's last name, but maybe they could go for Mikael Williams. I don't know. Mikael, I know, is more of a raw prospect. He's not, developed like Carter is. He's a lot more raw, but I mean, maybe Georgia, does produce like, half the NFL players, it feels like nowadays. So, I don't know. And then cornerback, I see, or yeah, DB or whatever, they have a need for. So I don't know. Maybe they go cornerback. I've heard of Will Johnson. I don't know if I've heard of this guy, but I don't know.
Both for solid.
Yeah,
It's just Will Johnson was injured, which for a decent amount of the seasons, which is why he isn't as high on this draft board, probably.
yeah. So
Anyways,
I could see McMillan. I'm trying to think. They have Adam Thielen. They have
that's pretty much it. They drafted Leggett, but Leggett didn't develop a ton
okay.
this last
Yeah,
season. But like, there's still time.
he's not great. They have like Laviscus Chenault or something. Is he on their team? I don't know if he's on their team. But
Yeah.
I would probably say McMillan just because he's probably the best bang for their buck.
All right, Saints, the absolute mess up the NFL. Somehow still has money. I don't know how. But regardless, they're missing running back. But like also they have Alvin Kamara. I feel like that's sufficient for now. At this pick, it's not their biggest need. McMillan probably would have been an easy pick here, but obviously the Panthers are gladly taken away from a division rival. I'm not shocked in the slightest there. And then that's a D line. There's options here. Saints, like I said, are a weird team. Where do I even like begin with them? To be honest, what do I give them at this position? I mean, an edge hasn't. Okay, technically an edge has been taken off, but it's Carter, so that's kind of expected at this point. So an edge is an option. Dude, this team's a mess. This team is a mess. I never like drafting for the Saints because they just they have aging veterans everywhere. Do they really have anywhere that's like solid at all? Honestly, the answer to that question is probably no. Now the next question is which do the Saints value more? Because we're talking about like Saints tend to value bigger pass rushers actually is kind of like where they tend to be. And honestly, Mike Green might be undersized for them, so I think they might take Pierce Juniors. So I'm gonna go for it. Why not go for an elemental piece at this point? Definitely a lot of potential here. It's like it's hard drafting for the Saints. I never liked drafting for the Saints.
Anyways, next up we have the Bears who need a running back, D lineman, or safety. I don't know. I feel like they probably could go for a D lineman. I don't think they're gonna go for a running back. Did they get rid of Swift? Is he gone now?
Not officially. He's still on the roster.
Uh,
There is a viable running back at this point. Scatterbo definitely. Sorry, Hampton. I mean, Hampton out of
Hampton.
is definitely an option if they did want to take a running back here.
Yeah,
Um, the logical pick here, in my opinion, would be to take I take a offensive lineman because of the fact they have an aging group and an injury prone tackle. But it sounds like the Bears front office has no plan to do so. So
I don't know. I don't think they are. I think that because the Bears are like delusional like they are, they're probably thinking, we'll be fine. So I don't think they will take an offensive lineman. I think they're probably just gonna go with the safe pick and Mike Green as an edge. But I could see them drafting Hampton. I don't know. Running backs just haven't hit the same in the past like few drafts. It feels like ever since like the Chiefs drafted like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I feel like running backs just aren't what they used to be. I really can't think of like a really good run besides like maybe Bijan. I can't think of a really good high drafted running back over the past like few years. So I'm just probably
That's
gonna
fair.
go with Mike Green. Everybody else, I can't think of anybody else.
49ers love their positioning. They have 12 draft picks, and they have a lot of needs because they're trying to deal with their aging core right now. And based on how this board has fallen, honestly, I think a good start potentially for them would be offensive tackle Armand Menbu out of Missouri. Really good tackle. Trent Williams is not going to be there forever. He's going to have to eventually retire at some point. And frankly, their line has never been the best thing ever, to be honest. As we can see here by that, they're also missing some D line. They definitely could use another edge. They could use another corner. I feel like this seems a little early for corner. I'm sure they'll find someone else in the draft. So I'm thinking Membu, a really solid pickup for them in this position.
Next up, we have the Cowboys, who technically did solve the running back problem with Javonte Williams, but let's be honest here, that's basically just the same thing as what the Raiders did with getting Mostert and Madison back. So the Cowboys really do need a running back. Wide receiver, I mean, they didn't even get Gallup when he came back, and they probably aren't. They might get Amari Cooper. They might get. I don't think they're getting Stephon Diggs. I don't think they could get Tyler Lockett. I could see that. But for the most part, the Cowboys, yeah, they do need a wide receiver. They do need a running back. So maybe they go like Matthew Golden. He's probably a reach. I've heard a lot about him. I have not heard much about Burden. I have not heard much about the running backs, but as you
It
said,
would be
Hampton.
Hampton if they were going to take a running back, probably.
If I were the Cowboys, I would probably. The Cowboys are so weird. Nothing really makes them any better. Like whatever they take, I feel like I would probably say a running back. I'd probably go Hampton just because it alleviates pressure off of Dak, and Dak's been just hammered over the past like few years with injuries. So I'd probably say Hampton to give him a competent running back to pair with CeeDee Lamb and all of those other guys they got on that offense, which is not that many to be honest. So yeah, we'll see, but
Right.
I could see running back.
There's really two schools of thoughts, I feel like, with the Dolphins at this point in the draft. It's corner or it's tackle slash offensive lineman. Those are like the two logical things. And honestly, with Johnson falling this far, I honestly think this would be a good time for them to pick up Will Johnson of Michigan. A really good corner when we saw him. He definitely has a higher ceiling than Barron. Barron is also a really good corner, but I think the ceiling of Johnson is going to be too enticing for them, and they'll go for Johnson at pick 13. Could be a really good corner. We'll see, obviously. But yeah, that's going to be like an offensive lineman. It's literally only those two really the good options for the Dolphins at this point.
Next up, we have the Colts, who made a little bit, of a splash in free agency, signing Daniel Jones. No, I'm kidding. They didn't do much. They do need a tight end. They did get rid of they got rid of both of their tight ends, and Malali Cox, and I don't know the other guy. We talked about him in our video, but he's like some young guy. So I could see Warren going here to the Colts. I actually would like that a lot for Anthony Richardson, but also I feel like they probably do need an O lineman because I know they got rid of at least one of their O linemen this offseason.
It was a guard and their center.
Yeah, okay, so they got rid of. Okay, so they probably would need an O lineman. Maybe they trade up and get another pick. Maybe they get somebody else's pick over here and they get 2 picks. And they try to go O lineman and tight end. But I think just because of his innate value, I think they got to go Warren here. And yeah, hopefully this does help Anthony Richardson's development.
All right. Falcons are in a not terrible position at this point in the draft. Obviously, the center, they lost their center to the Bears in free agency. Wide receiver, I mean, have options potentially if they wanted to go that route. Edge, but it always feels like they never take edges, let's be honest here. And a linebacker. And there is one defensive player that can kind of do it all in this draft. And I wouldn't be opposed if he fell to the Lions, but I don't think he's falling to the Lions. And I think this is the perfect point for John Campbell out of Alabama. He's basically the kind of a nice middle linebacker type of player. Can get to the quarterback, can get your interceptions, can tackle. It's just a really you do it all kind of linebacker, and I think he's a pretty good fit in the Falcons. Now the question is, are the Falcons going to actually take a defensive player in the first round?
Next up, we have the Cardinals. I'd probably go O-lineman for the Cardinals. I think Kyler Murray does need some help. I think they could also definitely go defense, because I do think the Cardinals have been lacking a lot on defense recently. Like within the past 2-ish years, I feel like their defense has just been so poor. But I think offensive lineman, specifically guard in this case for Kyler Murray, I think makes a lot of sense. So I'd probably give him a guard. They would probably go Tyler Booker out of Alabama because he seems to be the top ranked guard here. And I think that's probably it makes the most sense for the Cardinals overall. So I'd probably go Booker at 16.
Bengals are in a weird spot. There's two schools of thought, and the real first question, are they going to pay Trey Hendricks? Is the first question that needs to be asked for this draft pick, because that massively changes things. Because if so, then at that point they're literally basically forced to take an edge at that point. Now there's two schools of thought. Do we fix the O-line, just buff out the offense further, and just that way they can actually give Tom Burrow to get the ball out, or do we start buying cheap defensive players because we're putting all of our money in the offense right now? There's really two schools of thought, which is really weird to think about. From this point, like I said, assuming they keep Trey Hendrickson, honestly, I kind of like the value of Kevin Banks Jr. to the Bengals because he is a tackle that can go out to guard if needed. And their O-line just in general kind of sucks.
Yeah.
All things considered. So I think that might be the pick. But if Trey Hendricks is traded, switch this pick to an edge rusher like Stewart or potentially other ones. But yeah, that's my pick. I think Kevin Banks Jr. will be going to the Bengals.
Next up, we have the Seahawks at 18, and they would be needing a center and a guard. I know they got rid of a few offensive linemen this offseason along with the Colts. And an edge wouldn't hurt either because, their defense, not great. I mean, not terrible. The Seahawks did get Mekhi Becton, didn't they? I don't know. Maybe they would go edge over offensive lineman. I could see it. I really could. Maybe they go, I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, but, out of BC, or maybe they go Simmons. Mikael Williams, I think, will fall a little bit lower, but I could see the Seahawks doing a lot of things.
If you wanted to go like a guard-esque kind of player, Grade Zabel out of North Dakota, tackle, go back up. It's like near the top. He eventually could be a great guard. He can literally play anywhere in the O-line. But if you're thinking edge, then your choice obviously from there. But like if you wanted help find on an O-lineman that could be a guard or like a center, that would be like your best bet.
I don't know. I think they might take a reach here with Mikael Williams. I think the Seahawks could draft him. That'd be an interesting pick, and it'd be a little exciting, a little bit of a reach there, but we'll see.
Putting the Bucs in this position at this point with who's available. The wide receiver room should be fine, obviously, with bringing back Godwin. They definitely could use DBs. Their DB room's kind of aging as it is. So I do kind of like the value at corner potentially. Linebackers is not if Javad's off the board, I don't think they're taking a linebacker this early. And edges are always definitely doable. Honestly, I don't know where else you'd go, so I kind of like Barron out of Texas, the corner, at this point. And I think a DB, like I said, their aging DB room kind of just does make sense. Like I said, it's either this or edge, and edge's class for this one is pretty loaded, so they potentially could take one lower in the draft, I feel like.
Next up, we have the Broncos at pick 20, and they would need some offensive weapons to help out with Bo Nix's development, because really right now all they got is Sutton. They don't got much. They got some other wide receivers, Marvin Mims. Really can't think of anybody else. So I would say running back, probably. If I'm Sean Payton, yeah, I'm probably going running back here. But also maybe they could go until the second round. Yeah, they might go second round running back. So maybe wide receiver, they would probably go Luther Burden here. I think just because he's the highest ranked wide receiver, and yeah, he probably has the highest overall rating for
So
wide
he's gonna play
receivers.
really good on the inside, so I actually kind of like that.
Yeah, I just think if you give Bo Nix, some high talent at this position, I think it's gonna really, really elevate him to that, level. Not maybe not Jaden Daniels level, but definitely like closer to top 15, like Tua level, Baker Mayfield ish level. So I think Luther Burden the third, I think, is the best pick for the Broncos at pick 20.
This is not what I personally would recommend in this position. This is what I think the front office is gonna do, right? So they need a quarterback. They kind of need a running back, and like I said, most of the really good first round talent running backs are kind of off the board, unfortunately for them. Tackle, a lot of the good tackles are off the board, and well, safety. Honestly, if I'm them, I'm drafting a safety in this position. To be honest, if I'm them, but honestly, because I'm predicting what I think the front office is gonna do, give me Jackson Dart, having him hold him as QB.
Jackson Taris
I
QB.
think they're gonna reach on quarterback. To be honest.
Anyways, next up we have the Los Angeles Chargers, and they're at 22. They need a wide receiver because we saw what happened last year. Ladd McConkey's good, but he's not. Ladd McConkey is not number one level, really. He's more of a number two. He's kind of like a Julian Edelman almost. And the tight end, I think they can kind of get away with tight end for now. I would probably go wide receiver if I'm them. They also say D-line, which, I mean, yeah, I guess, you got rid of Bosa and, what's his name? Khalil Mack is, going to retire, so. But I would still go, I would probably go Matthew Golden. I would go wide receiver just because he's, one of the highest rated wide receivers, and he's probably, I don't know, I don't really know much about, what is it pronounced? Abuka?
Eka Abuka.
Ekabuka. Okay, I don't know. It's close. I would probably go Matthew Golden because I've seen more of him, but I could see them going Ekabuka at 22. But personally, I would go with the guy out of Texas.
All right, Green Bay Packers are on the board. They're in a position where they need a wide receiver. They're in a position where they need an edge, and they need a position where they desperately need a corner, especially with gosh, I can never say it. Alexander, their corner, potentially being traded or cut.
Yeah.
And also, just even if he doesn't, he's never healthy. So, there's kind of that fact. So, in this position, to be honest, there's a corner I'm hearing a decent amount of buzz that might be worth the attempt of reach here. Out of Eastern Carolina, I think it's Rejewel Jr., Siobhan Rejewel Jr., the pirate with the bones up. I believe that might be the pick here. It's really hard to say for certain. They could take an alignment for all I know at this position. It is the Green Bay Packers after all. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with, like I said, I'm going to go with him. I've heard good things. He was injured, which is why he's probably lower on this draft board than I probably think he deserves to be. But yeah, that's going to be my pick.
Anyways, next up we have the Vikings, who don't need much. They got their quarterback in JJ. Hopefully he doesn't get injured again. They got, their wide receivers in Addison and Jefferson. They got their running back in Aaron Jones for another maybe year and a half, 2 years. And they got, Hawkinson, who hopefully also doesn't get injured again. And they have a solid defense. So I'd probably say they skip out on running back, really. I would say they ride out Aaron Jones. I would say they probably go cornerback or maybe interior lineman. I don't know. I think they probably just go with the best guy on the board. I'd probably say they go with Kenneth Grant. Overall, he's the best prospect out of Michigan. And I'd probably say they just, play it safe with that. I don't think the Vikings would do anything too crazy.
Texans on the board. They kind of need a wide receiver. They also kind of need O lineman. It is really only their only two needs in this position. They managed to make that defense look pretty nice. And while I wanted to give an O lineman here, I feel like a lot of the ones they were more interested in have already been taken off the board. So I think honestly, give me Emeka Ibuka of Ohio State. You got the connection with Stroud, both being from Ohio State and formerly a receiver of that Stroud has worked with before. So I think that's a good fit. Though Josh Simmons out of Ohio State would probably be potentially a better pick, but I'm gonna go with the Emeka Ibuka.
Anyways, next up we have the Rams, one of my favorite teams in the NFL besides the Patriots because of Matthew Stafford. And they need a tight end because they have Tyler Higbee, that's his name. But Tyler Higbee had like a really gruesome injury recently, so I don't know if they'll go him. I don't know if they'll stick with him. So they probably do go tackle here. They do need some help on the offensive line. I'd probably go Simmons. But I could also see them going defense. Maybe they go linebacker. Maybe they go Walker. Maybe they go Knight. I don't know. I think tackle would make the most sense. I think it'd make Matthew Stafford happy knowing that he's going to get some help there. And yeah, Simmons I think would make the most sense for the Rams.
Continuing on, where we on the Ravens need a guard. At least they locked down their star tackle this offseason. That was a very big win. Edge rusher, DBs, those are definitely both some solid needs. Unfortunate. Actually, no. Actually, give me safety right now. So they need a DB. There are some really good safeties on the board still. You could say Malachi Stark's a little high on this board, but it doesn't matter because he's still a really good player, and this is pick 27. Easy pick here. Otherwise, he's going to go to the Eagles, and no one wants that.
That would be weird.
Give me Malachi Starks to the Ravens. This is such a great value pick.
Lions, I agree with Aqua in the fact that wide receiver is not a need if you have Tim Patrick as your third. So out of these three, linebackers I don't think are that bad. I mean, you guys got Alec Anzalone, so he always carries your guys as linebackers. Edge, yeah, I'd probably go edge for you guys. Sorry if your guard position really is suffering, but yeah,
there's definitely time to still address that in this draft.
Yeah, I would say you could probably wait just because if when I click on guards here, nobody shows up, so it kind of shows that edges also are more valuable. But anyways, I'd probably just go the best pick on the board. I mean, unless you think any of these like next five guys are better.
I think Samar Stewart probably fits the build better, to be honest, of what we normally get an edge rusher with a bigger body. But both would be great pickups. I'd be happy with either edge rusher. And if a guard fell to us, like value-wise, I wouldn't be upset. But I just don't want to reach basically for one.
I'd probably go this guy out of BC just because he's rated 90 overall. It is your pick, though. I'll respect you guys and just give you guys the best value on the board when it comes to your position needs.
All right, Commanders are up. They need a running back once again. That probably can wait. I could honestly even see them potentially trading up later for a running back. Pick it early in the second round. Once again, guards are kind of in a weird spot right now. Well, unfortunately, kind of it is what it is on that. Just a lot of the prospects aren't really the best at this point. Edges are always a possible need. That makes sense. And DBs. Based on what's fallen into the Commanders, I think Samar Stewart, if he's not going to the Lions at this point while he's on the board, then he's probably going to go to the Commanders.
The Bills at 30 need an edge, a linebacker, or a CB. I mean, you get rid of Von Miller, you replace him with Joey Bosa, but they don't really have another guy to pair him up with. So I would probably go edge and just secure that position down. Besides Walker, most of these guys are reaches at this point because the Chiefs could probably get somebody else, and the Eagles could probably wait. So I'd say Walker might be the best pick. But I also could see, somebody like these top-rated edge guys, like Jackson, or maybe, Scorton, or maybe they do go, CB to replace all of the guys they've kind of lost over the years. It's really hard. It's probably between Amos and Walker for me, personally. I don't really like the Bills that much because they're, the Patriots' rival, so I would probably go Walker. But I could see Amos being, reasonably justified. But I go Walker for the Bills.
Chiefs are up next. They did technically sign a tackle from the 49ers, but it didn't really start much, so we'll see how that one plays out. D-line, definitely just always use some help. And like I said, guard. Like, it's just O-line, really. And it's D-line and O-line is what they need at this point. Honestly, they could honestly maybe even argue need another corner, but like they're probably not going to drop that at this point. At this point, I've heard some pretty good things. Actually, if we go back up, Hampton out of Oregon for the D line, and I think this might be a good pick. Either that, or they're going to be forced to take a tackle, and the tackles at this point have not fallen very good for them because a lot of teams have been drafting them ahead of them. So, wait, isn't there still the tackle out of Ohio State? Never mind, I forgot that's still on the board. I think, right? Or did we? Did I give? Oh, I did give them to the. Oh, you gave them to the Rams. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, they're kind of screwed on that. Oh wait, no.
Yeah.
Wait, I forgot about Gray Dable. Yeah. That's probably a good pick because he can switch into guard. He can go into some. He can literally be anywhere on the O line, and they kind of just need help on the O line. Period. So honestly, yeah, Gray Dable probably is the pick.
All right.
Even though there's some very tempting D linemen here at this point.
And last but certainly not least, for our first mock draft, we have the Eagles selecting at 32 because they won the Super Bowl, and that's how the draft works. They need a wide receiver, which I would argue they don't. I don't know why that's on there.
Let's be honest here. Like, does it matter who the wide receiver 3 is if Hurts doesn't tend to go past his first read? Like, based on the way their offense works, it doesn't need to be a wide receiver 3, to be honest.
Yeah, Jahan Dotson even then is still one of the better ones in the league. So I would say I would probably go defense. I'd probably skip guard, to be honest. I don't think they would. I think they can kind of fix that with a later pick. I would probably edge or cornerback. That's actually hard. I think they probably go Trey Amos just because, like I already said. I mean, maybe they could go Scorton because he's probably he's ranked right around where they would pick. But I think just because they have to go Amos because the way they've been getting rid of these guys like Darius Slay, CJ, and a few other like little moves on the defense. I think Amos is just a good guy to like structure that defensive back room back together a little bit. So I think Trey Amos for the final pick in the first round of our mock draft, I think makes the most sense for the Eagles, and I think it's pretty solid overall.
The quarterbacks in this class are not great. I mean, big shocker. People have gone over it. There's definitely some pretty good talents available at the top. Not a bad year to have, other than needing a quarterback, it's not a bad year to have a need at the top.
Yeah, the quarterback,
honestly.
I saw somebody compare it to Bryce Young and CJ Stroud's year, which is kind of true. Like, besides Ward and Sanders, everything else is really kind of a reach. And so I thought that was pretty funny when you had the Steelers take Dart.
Like I said, I don't know who it's going to be, but someone's going to do it. Someone is going to do it.
It probably is.
It might not be the Steelers, but like someone's going to do it.
You know what? It actually might just be the Cowboys. I'm not even gonna lie. The Cowboys might just have to self-destruct.
Draft a quarterback because Dak can't win a game in the playoffs.
Because Dak,
has.
He can't play in the playoffs, and he can't even stay healthy in the regular season. So.
Also, there's a chance that we may have overrated or underrated a certain player in college, mainly because we are not, unfortunately, sitting down watching every college game.
Yeah, we're not experts. We don't claim.
I feel like this one's not. I feel like this is not too bad of a draft. And like I said, if you have some great knowledge on the draft in terms of the prospects, please leave in the comments down below. We're glad to learn more. And next time we do a mock draft, potentially before the real thing happens, at some point before that, we will be happy to use your feedback to create a better and more complete content in the future.
Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. We'd appreciate that. And make sure to join our Discord, link in the description and probably in the pinned comment. Also,
shout out for all the people watching the last video. Seems the algorithm liked that one. And you know what? If you're new here to the channel, hopefully you've earned your subscription. And if not, it's all good. But either way, hope you enjoyed watching. And we'll be back later for more content.
Yeah. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Bye.
Bye.